Hello everyone, welcome back. In this part, we're going to talk about strings and string methods in JavaScript. First of all, as you know, strings are way that we store text. We can define strings by our single quotations or double quotations. And it doesn't matter if you have anything inside of quotation. What I mean is if you have double quotations just like this, or if you have some single quotations like this, all four of these are going to be string. But why we have two types of defining string? In some cases that we want one of these inside of our sentences. For example, let's say here we have our C variable, and here we have our double quotation and some text inside this. For example, I love Dodge Challenger. This is our sentence, and for example, let's say we want to have these simple quotations inside of our string. We can do this, but if we use double quotations right here, you can see our JavaScript can't recognize this Dodge word and going to see this one as one string and this one as another string. And if we want to have double quotations inside of our string, we need to wrap all of our string into our single quotation. Now we can have this one too. Now let's talk about methods for our strings. Methods are built-in functions that we can use them to do some works with our string. And basically, string methods are tools for our strings. So first of all, let's say we have some text right here, and our variable's name is text2. And let's make the inside of that this sentence. And zoom in a little bit. Yes. So now let's have some variable called the result. Now first, let's put our text inside of our result variable. And here let's console log our result just right here. And now if we run, we get this string which we defined right here. Now the first method that we're going to talk about is our length method, which is going to give us how long is our string. So here after our variable's name, we put dot, and after this we use our length method just right here. And now if I run, you can see we got 26 characters. Now if we come here and count these, you can see, and this is the length that we have. The next thing that we want to have is, let's say we want to get the char in 5th place. So to get that here, instead of length, we use charAt method. And here we give the number that we want. For example, let's say we want this E, so we give the 4 right here. And if I run, you can see we got M instead of E. And that's because in programming language and computer, we start counting from 0 and not from the 1. This is the length because the first character is in index of 0. So the first line is our length and our second line is our index. So now if we want to get this E, we need to put 3 right here. Now if we use 3 here and run, you can see that we get this E. Again, let's get another one. Let's say we want this O, it's in 13th place. So here we write 13, and if we run, you can see we got this O. You know that our characters has their own code. So if we want to have the code of our character, we just need to add code between char and at, which means we need to use our charCodeAt method. And now if we run this, you can see that we got the code for letter O. And if we use, for example, 0, again, we can get the code for L. And pay attention that here we work with the characters and not with the letters. And that's why the uppercase L's code is 76. And let's say we want this one's code too, which is in the place of 14. If we type that and run our program, you see we got 108 code for this lowercase l. Another thing that we can have is our at method. And in this method, if we run this, you can see we got the letter. So this is the same as we have charAt method. Here we got the letter, and if we use the simple at right here, we got the same thing going on. And one other way of doing this kind of search is to have this square brackets after our variable's name and type the index that we want. For example, let's say we want the index of 2. Here, if we put 2 right here and run our program, you'll see that we got R, which is here our index of 2. After extracting our character from our string, we have methods which by usage of that we can extract part of our string from our large string. So the first method that we're going to work with that is our slice method. And here we give 2 parameters to our slice method, which is the index of which we want to start and the index that we want to end. For example, let's say we want this from 6 until 17. Now here, if I run the program, you can see we got these characters. And if you pay attention, these are just this. We start from the 6, we have this 6, and we go until this number 17. And if I make this 18, for example, and run this program again, you can see that we don't have this 18th one, but I have this in 19. You can see we get that 18th one too. And that is because we start from this 6 and go all through from one number before this one. This is not going to be inside of our slice, but the character before this is going to be inside of our string, which in this case is this part. Another thing that we can have here is our substring method. And if I run this, you can see it's similar to slice. But here, let's say if we use -5 and run this, it's going to start from the 0 and give us the value to the 19. But if we have this in the slice and run our program, you can see here we can't have anything. And if we put this to -2 and run, you can see we got this AM. But if it is question to you, what is this -5 and -2? Because we don't have any minus values. Actually, in strings, we can use minus to count from the end to the start. So if we want to have our minus values, this is how they are. For example, here in the index of 25, we got -1, -2, -3, 4, 5, 6, and it's go all along through -25. And that's the same as our first and 0 index. So in this case, if we have, let's say, -5 and -2, these are as same as index 24 and index 21. So if we put 21 right here and 24 right there and run the program again, you can see that we get this AM again. But in our substring, if we give these minus values, it's always going to start from the 0 and not counting on. But of course, we can have any part that we want, and that's going to give us the part that we want. But we can't have negative and minus values in our substring method. Another thing that we can have here is our substr method. And here, the first parameter that we give here is the index that we want to start. For example, here, let's say we want to start from index 6. And the next parameter we're going to give to this is the length that we want after starting. For example, we have started from here. We want maybe 8 for our length and 8 characters. And if I run right here, you can see that we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 characters right here. And if we add 6 and 8, we got 14, which here, if we come here, you can see this is our selection. And as you know, we get this 8 characters beside each other. And if we use this with only one parameter, you can see here, we get the value starting from index of 8 and going all along, which it means here we have our infinite value right here. So if we put 1, it means start from that index and go after that. And if we use negative values here, you can see it's going to come from our negative index and start from here and go along. So let's say if we have 4 right here, it's going to give us -1, 2, 3, and 4. And in this case, what we type right here is the same as minus of the negative value, which means here we got -4. The length of what we get is going to be 4 because this is going to start counting from end of our string to the start and then print that from here to the all along of our string. So the length is the same as this number, but in positive num, not negative. After this, we have another function called toUpperCase that you see from the name. If we run this, we get all of our sentence in uppercase. And just like this, we have another function called lowerCase, which is going to convert all of the things to the lowercase and give that value to us. Another function that we can have here is our concat. What concat is, let's say here we have variable A with word 1 right here, and then variable B with word 2 inside that. Now here, if we use our first string and then use our concat method right here and give this some value, which here I'm giving this our variable B, and run my program, you can see here we have our variable A right here in the first place, and then it combined that with our second variable, which is this one. Now here you can see our variable B and here our variable 1, and we can give as many things that we want right here. We just need to separate them by comma. So here let's say we want another B right here. So we got 2B after our A. Now if I run this, you can see we have 2B right here. And you can give this some custom things just for you. Now let's here write text and run. You can see again, we can have this right here. And of course, you can have some empty spaces right here in your string. So you can see how they is going to be concat and not just leave it together and have this space between them. Now you can see here, we got this space right here. But another cool way of concating in JavaScript is to use our first string and add our second one to that. Now, if we run, you can see again, we got this result going on. And we can have again some empty spaces between our quotations right here. And this is going to make some space between our words and variables. And of course, you can have multiple things that going on no matter how much they are. And if you run, you can see you got all of the things that you put right here. So you put this one instead of that syntax of concat. Another method that we're going to talk about here is our trim method. And here in our trim method, you can see if I run this, we got the same result as this one. But if we have some white spaces before and after in the beginning or ending of our string and we run, we got the same thing. But here, if we print our text, you can see we got those spaces right here. So what trim does is basically go and grab these white spaces in the start and in the end of our string and throw them away, just like this. But another thing that we can have here is to delete only this part or this part. So for get rid of this white space in the start, we use trimstart right here. And if we run, actually this R is extra. Now if we run, you can see here we get rid of the white space in the start, but we have this in the end. And just like this, of course, we can have this in end. And now if I run this, you can see here we don't have anything in the end, but we got these white spaces in the start. Another method that we're going to talk about is our repeat method. So here we use our repeat method right here, and here we give how many times that we want our text to repeat. For example, here let's say 2, and let's actually get rid of these white spaces. And now if I run, you can see here we got one right here, and then another one going on. And we can have this in any value that we want. And we're going to get that right here as you see. After this, we have another method called replace. And here we can give this 2 values, just right here. And it's going to find the first one and replace that with the second one. For example, let's say here we want to select our lowRm word in the first and then our simple text as replacement. So this is going to find lowRm, which is right here, and replace that with the simple text. And now if I run, you can see we have this simple text instead of lowRm in our string. But here let's say we have another lowRm word right here in the ending. And now if I run my program again, you can see we have this lowRm replaced, but not this one. And for this, we have another method called replaceAll. And now if I run, you can see we have this simple text replaced 2 times, and it doesn't matter how many times that we have this word in our string, it's going to replace our simple text instead of this word. And after this, we have another function called split. And here we use our split right here and give this only 1 value. That is going to split our string by that character. For example, let's say if we want to get the words, we can split that by our white spaces right here. So if I use the space right here and run, you can see I get one array with the words of lorem ipsum $sit and emmet. And I can have this by anything that I want. For example, let's say put D right here. If I run, you can see here we have this one, which is here until this, and this one, which is after this D. And pay attention, we don't get this thing that we splitting our string with. And of course, we can have something like S right here, which is going to split our string into 3 parts and other things. And we can have this in For example, word, so it's going to split from right here and give us the values before and after that. Please give a like and subscribe to catch next videos.